Hi, I'm Dennis Gage. Thanks for tuning into My Classic Car, home of the certified car nut. Well, this week we're in Highland Park, Illinois to check out some of the cars in the collection of Joe Bortz. Now, Joe specializes in concept cars and one-offs, and he's brought out some examples of design excess for us today. Let me tell you, these babies are wild. Check them out. Well, Joe, you've got some pretty wild cars in your collection. You've been collecting concept cars almost all your life, haven't you?
Oh yes, going on about 25 years.
Well, the ones you brought out today, this one in particular, is just one of the most extreme designs I've ever seen. It's Die Valkyrie?
It's
Die Valkyrie?
Die Valkyrie, and of course that's because it has the Spahn body done in Germany, and Brooks Stevens did a few cars, concept cars that he did have done by Spahn.
So what is this car? What's underneath the skin?
Okay, the chassis is a 56 Cadillac Eldorado production chassis. And then, of course, the whole design of the body was done by Brooks Stevens and executed by Spahn in
So
Germany.
it would be it's an all-steel car.
All steel, 100% steel with a removable hardtop.
Built for?
Built for the auto shows, not only in the United States, but also in Europe. And the car toured extensively in Europe, won many awards there.
You know, there's a lot of elements in this car, but one you just can't avoid is that monstrous grille. That bumper is huge.
Well, Brooks was very proud of the United States, and he was very proud of the fact that the United States was known for their V8s as compared to the Europeans that were using straight 8s, straight 6s, and straight 4-cylinder engines. So he wanted to kind of have that in-your-face kind of situation. So he designed the front bumper so it looked like the V of the V8, and then just to top it off, in case you didn't get it, he put the V8 right on the nose of the car.
If you're really dull, right?
Exactly.
If you're really dense. Well, the other thing, Brooks did a lot of work for Studebaker later on, and this has got some elements of the Hawk. Actually, if you shrunk that thing down, you'd have a bit of Hawk in there.
He did have certain elements that he liked on cars, and he did carry them over from one car to another, whether he was designing for Cadillac or he was designing for Studebaker.
Now, the other thing I find interesting about this car, and you don't really see it till you get a good profile shot, but it looks a lot like a Continental Mark II. It's got that, you know, lower than typical 50s cars were, particularly in back, and even these vents back here, because they're intakes, right?
Right, yeah.
Well, Mark II used those.
I think that a lot of the manufacturers had their spies, and they would go in and find out what was going on at another manufacturer, especially in their design studios, and try and collect ideas that they thought were good and put them on their cars too. So there are crossover pollination situations.
Well, now, is this, I mean, there's a seal here. Is this thing removable?
Yes, the hardtop is all steel and it's removable, but it's not like a Carson top that they had back in the 50s that was out of balsa wood. This top is steel, and it takes 4, 5, even 6 guys to get it off the car without scratching it and set it down somewhere.
I like the door, the way the door dishes.
Right.
Also,
the door dishes out like that so that rather than coming straight up, so that it makes it a lot easier to It makes it a lot easier to get into the back seat.
Oh yeah.
You can almost just hop right in, and as compared to a door that would come straight up, and then you'd have to kind of wiggle back there. And there's not a lot of room in the rear seat, but it certainly makes it more comfortable to get in that way.
Had sort of the 60-40 split bench up there.
That was one of his novel features that he put into the cars that he was designing in that period. Also, you'll notice that the steering wheel is very horizontal compared to the angle of steering columns of the 50s.
Yeah, it's almost straight up and down.
That was very European.
Yeah.
That was very European.
Well, now, most of your cars run too, which is kind of unique for concept cars.
Well, if they were running when they were, shown and designed and on display, they're going to be running in our collection right now.
And this one probably runs like a 55, 56 Caddy, huh?
It runs just like a 55, 56 Caddy. It's got the 4-speed hydromatic transmission, and just like driving a Cadillac Eldorado.
What do you say we take it out?
Absolutely.
Do you suppose I could drive it?
You're the driver.
All right. Brooks Stevens, Caddy, sort of Die Valkyrie. That is a big door. All right. Welcome back to My Classic Car. Brooks Stevens' Valkyrie is a concept car that must be seen on the road to be fully appreciated. Somehow I convinced the owner, Joe Bortz, to let me take this baby out. What a ride. Well, how'd you end up with this one? How'd you end up with the Valkyrie?
Well, this one was in a museum that Brooks Stevens had. And one day I heard that they were selling off cars at the museum, and I went up there, and the museum was run by a woman named Alice. She was very knowledgeable. She was a confidant of Brooks Stevens. And I told her I'd like to get this particular car, and she helped arrange it. So I was lucky in that regard also.
It drives a lot like a 56 Caddy.
It drives exactly like a 56 Caddy, it's kind of nice in that regard because it's a dependable concept car, and you can literally take it on a trip. And we were talking before about the mileage, and I don't know if
you have almost 37,000 miles.
37,000 miles. It's probably the highest mileage concept car that exists.
Well, it was pretty nice, Joe. What do you say we go back and check out the Diablo?
Absolutely. I think you're going to enjoy that car as much as you're enjoying this one. But
you know,
I'm going to be driving.
God, I thought I'd get you on that. Welcome back to My Classic Car. Well, Joe, that was a lot of fun.
You did a great job, Dennis.
Well, you got a great car. You know, that's a wonderful car to drive and a great concept, but it's more of a classic look. Now you turn to this, the Diablo, and this is the Jetsons.
Oh, absolutely. You have to keep in mind that both of these cars are of the same year, 56, 57, so they're the same time period, but different designers.
Night and day.
Absolutely.
Well, tell me about the Diablo.
Well, the Diablo is 56. It was called the Dart. In this form that you see it here, it's 1957, it's the Diablo.
So it was the same car?
It's exactly the same car. A lot of the manufacturers did a 2-year turnover on a concept car. I think there was some economies involved in that. The chrome trim is all blended into the actual body design work.
It's stunning, and you got all the pitchforks for Diablo, you know, everywhere in this.
Everywhere.
Now this would have been a Virgil Exner car, right?
It's a Virgil Exner car done by Ghia, as most of the Chrysler concept cars were. And Ghia was a wonderful bodybuilder, and
they're all steel. Ghia was primarily steel, right?
They would absolutely. They would make a wooden form of the car, and then they would literally form the steel over that wooden form so that it would be a perfect body fit. They were really a great bodybuilder.
Well, and there's some pretty complex curves here for working steel. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, there's the compound curves in this for people who are into the business of working with sheet metal even today.
They love it.
They're just amazed by it. Yeah, they can't believe that it was done at that time period.
Well, and the interior though is just drop dead gorgeous. It's so futuristic.
It's your space age future interior taken to the extreme. Back in the 50s, everybody was, you know, taken up with jets and things like that. Also the concept of rockets. This interior's got 4, you know, separate bucket seats. Mm-hmm. It's got the wild gauges that are just
you can't miss them.
No, they're
they're big.
Right. Yeah. Everything about this car is big.
Would this have been the original color scheme for the interior?
Everything about this car is original, including the color.
Wow. The design all the way back. The fins are absolutely gorgeous and so clean. Yeah. Everything about this car is so clean.
Exactly. And even the exhaust tips on this car are the original exhaust tips and very unique.
Well, you can really see when you look down the side how bulbous this car is. That's a wild handle. Open that baby up.
Oh yeah, sure. You can see the handle is built right into the fin here. And when you open the door up, this is a good example of how wide the car is. A normal Chrysler 300 door would come out about like this. As you can see, this is the distance on one side of the extra width. It's you know, roughly about 6-7 inches, you know, maybe 8 inches. So you're getting about 1.5 feet extra in width.
You better have a wide garage to put this baby in.
You better have a wide trailer to move it around too.
Well, what's powering this?
This is a Chrysler 300 engine.
Can we look at it?
Yeah, it's a Hemi, of course. We're going to pop that hood, but we're going to need your help on the other side because it's a very heavy hood.
Again, all steel, right?
Everything is steel. Everything is steel. So we pop this up here.
That is heavy.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
And of course, we got a Hemi engine. We got 2 4-barrel carburetors, and it's a highly detailed engine. We have the pitchfork even detailed out on some of the trim in the engine.
Man, so they built this car to run. Also.
This car is on a Chrysler 300 chassis, as I said, and it runs like a Chrysler 300, except that, as I understand, that they actually beefed up the engine even more than
the regular
than a Chrysler 300.
Wow.
I've been told that this particular engine was rated at about 375 horsepower.
Ooh. And she runs.
Oh, it runs good.
Well, we say we take this one out for a drive too.
This one I think I'm going to drive.
Oh, darn. All right, fine. I got to drive the other one. You got a deal.
There we go. There we go. Come on, we'll get in and I'll show you how it goes.
All right. Welcome back to My Classic Car. Now, do you hunt these for long periods of time?
Well,
sometimes?
Absolutely. I mean, I have a car that I just acquired that I was working on for 30 years. And the way that happened was I found out about the car, and the guy said, you know what? He said, give me a call next year and we'll make a deal. And that went on for 30 years, he did that. And then one day he called me, and I had just about given up on the car, and he said, you want the car? And I said, absolutely. That was the longest I ever waited for a car, was 30 years.
Well, no, did you get this one in this condition, or did you have to redo this?
This one was basically in this condition.
Wow.
You know, it had always been well cared for, and the previous owner had done a lot of upgrading on it, and it's basically the way I got it. Yeah, it was a wonderful car.
I really love the dash, though. I mean, that instrumentation, it's all right there. You can't miss what's going on.
Well, when you're sitting behind the wheel like I am, you probably get some semblance of an idea of what it's like to be driving a rocket ship, because that's really what it feels like.
So good.
Yeah, it does have a terrific Hemi sound to it. You know, Hemis have a sound of their own, and they do wind up, you know, to high RPMs, so that, you know, that sound just kind of drags on in between shifts, and it really is music to your ears.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes. And it's you know, this is a real pleasure to drive this car. This is the kind of car that you can get in and, you know, you can drive this car 500 miles and, you know, you feel just fine.
Oh man, I love concept cars. There's just nothing like one of one. And Joe's got lots of one-on-ones. Joe, can I come back and do this again?
Dennis, you come back anytime.
Joe says I can come back. We're coming back.